is the World Bank doing to work with China as they try to go from having 7 provincial and municipal experiments in carbon trading to having a national carbon trading scheme by 2017?
We've been a technical partner, and now we're creating a political momentum to try to get more and more countries to price carbon as soon as possible, given that the cost of delay is one that countries really shouldn't be bearing. But what's been very interesting in the last couple of years, and then the announcement by the President that they would indeed go to a national system in 2017, and by making that announcement at his level at the White House, you know that this is from the top all the way down.
The carbon markets, can they almost inevitably be gamed, or can you keep tight enough rules to keep people from playing games?
I don't really think the question of one fraudulent act validly undermines a whole approach, but I think it does mean that you have to be very careful about huge flows of money being introduced at an early stage in a market where the institutional capacity may not be very high.
How is it that people in Sweden have not really blocked carbon taxes on progressivity issues?
It's not those on the lower end of the income scale that are benefiting from subsidies or most hurt by the tax. This is the most common excuse for not doing anything.
It's a very good point, and that's what also we've seen in our industry, in the oil and gas industry, that well, it's a tax, but it actually leads to decisions to technology development, and it leads me to sell the gas instead of burning it, right? It goes back 25 years now that we've had a carbon tax in Norway. So it's probably the most carbon efficient oil and gas province in the world, and I would allocate a lot of that to actually the incentives driven by the tax as such.
The reason that Syria is having so much pain now is the violence there, but some suggest that before the violence even, you had effects of climate change.
I think what we are seeing in Syria today is just a shadow of what is waiting if we don't do anything about the climate change.
Where do you think the world should be headed on fossil fuel subsidies?
This is a system that basically should be scaled down as soon as possible. In terms of oil and gas demand, it will not be good, but it's more important for the world to solve the climate issues.
Should carbon pricing be clearly included in the main text of COP21?
We've got to price carbon and increasingly, steadily increase that price so that we drive it out and we get the efficiencies that have been talked about, and you get the R&D flowing into the green economy. COP will have enabling language about how economies need to go into transition, but then the hard work starts. Which policy lever are you going to pull, and how are you going to pull it? When will you pull it? How are you going to tackle the vested interests around that particular subsidy?
We're getting carbon pricing. The real question now is it going to be high enough to drive the transition? Have we got the political will to put that level of pricing on? Or do we need to change the IEA models, which assume that we will?